final action of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Championships presented by Ideal Versicherung for 2021. We're in Altenberg in Saxony and ready for the final run of the four-man competition. Martin Haven and John Morgan getting ready for what should be an epic finale to this 2 weeks of action here in Altenberg.
Martin, it's quite a season. There's the Martineau Cups, awarded in 1930 by the first ever president of the St. Moritz Bobsleigh Club, one of the oldest sports trophies that is awarded. Team Johannes Lachter, third place, safely in third place, but there's no safe on this track. He was a silver medalist in last year's four-man event and pretty consistent all three heats. Second place, this is a surprise, Team Benny Meyer. The Austrians haven't won a world championship medal in bobsledding since 1993. Hubert Schasser on his home track in Eagles. Meyer, who's been consistent all year. He did crash out in the two-man competition, but looks pretty solid. And they're chasing down this unbelievable performance. Martin, I estimate, there's been 39 heats of bobsledding this year, two-man and four-man. He's won 38 out of 39 heats. I don't know of any other athlete in any other sport that's had such a domineering performance as what Francisco Friedrich has done. And I'll leave it up to you to tell me if there's anybody else.
I can't think of one, especially in this crazy season. To keep that team together, to keep the focus has been remarkable. Benny Meyer second, Hansi Lochner third. Probably safe from assault unless he gives a medal away to Oskars Kiebermanis behind him. But there are battles behind. Look at Vogt and Stulnev, 100th apart, 10th ahead of Lamindine. And behind them, the 19 sleds that will continue into this fourth and final heat. Simon Friedlich's sled broken, Brad Hall and one of his brakemen broken, and Mihai Tentea and Marcus Treichel again having to pull out through injury. Well, it is a remarkable period of bobsledding history we're seeing. You do see these Goliaths straddle the sport. Eugenio Monti, of course, is the one that really comes to mind, but you've seen so many over the years. And Francesco Friedrich is likely, John, to break every record that ever existed and leave them so far away that it's possibly going to be beyond your time and mine before they get challenged again.
Well, there's been no one like him. This is only his chance to win his fourth straight world championship. Longa had did it 2002 through 2006, with two Olympic golds in there. But Martin, what's he, 30 years old, 29 years old?
30 years old, yeah. And already the legacy he's leaving, remarkable.
Monty never won his first world championships till he's 29. So we get 4 more years out of this guy. Wow, with a record book, will never be the same.
Yeah. Well, Milan Cortina, he'll only be 35. He could go another, wherever that will be. I mean, his career could extend to a Games, and we don't even know where it's going to be. Fourth and final run of the BMW IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Championship. Cedric Follador at the line for Switzerland, this World Championship debutant in 19th place after 3 heats. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action with you.
Yeah, this 26-year-old athlete, he got a chance to come into the competition because the Swiss won the World Junior title, which gives him an extra sled in the competition. Again, he's 26. He's from not far from St. Moritz, Vever. Came from alpine skiing. Martin, he's been pretty impressive coming down this track, too tough to tame.
Yeah, he really has.
And it's not about it's not about the fast times. It's about just getting down, completing his first world championships.
Exactly right. And we sort of surmised yesterday that maybe the team had given him more control of the sled, so he does complete all 4 heats. Because it's a neat and tidy looking run. He's definitely not the fastest, but it's all about experience at this level. And he completes a 4-heat world championship. And I think that was possibly beyond what they might have expected from him coming in to a 23-strong world-class field with the best bobsledders on the planet. Well, 3 rookies.
Martin, he does it with the fastest time of his 4 heats. Congratulations to this young Swiss team. Very impressive with his debut. And Martin, they probably loaded him up with the safest runners that they could find. And again, it's about confidence. You don't want to crash this young athlete out on this track for a memory. Look at the tape down below. The aerodynamic profile of the athletes was great. He's happy.
First Worlds. He's not raced in World Cup yet, so he goes into the leaders box. And rookie brakeman Nicola Mariani and Dominic Hufschmidt also complete their first Worlds. Well, for Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands, this is uncharted territory. In 3 previous World Championships, he has never made the 4th and final heat. This time he has, with Joost Duma, Dennis Venker and Janko Francic.
Improved start time in the 3rd run, probably related to the 2 or 3 sleds that dropped out. 5:29, just a 100th off. And Ivo didn't do well in the 2-man, crashed out in the 2nd run. And you know, he's got a lot of experience. Great piece of equipment.
And John, he's got a great target because he was only 500ths behind Yoon-Jin Suk, the next sled. So that's an almost dead heat on this track.
Second best speed to that Swiss sled, who he beat convincingly at the start.
Nice lines.
Good lines here. Right here is where he had his problem in the last heat. This is perfect. Much better run for Ivo de Bruin. He could move up 1. That's his best run of the 4, Martin.
Yep, 2100's better.
63-ish. Track is faster. He's 19,
yep.
He's 2100s faster than run.
Yeah, and he was much cleaner at the bottom, John. Out of 14, where he had that big skid in the last heat, he was clean. Yes, boys, they've done it, and they'll be very happy with that. That's a big personal milestone.
Well, the milestone is making it all 4 heats. Making it down, again, the track too tough to tame. Little mistake there in the crossover. Look at the sled come up. You want to come out of there and not tap that take on. And here, he's really high at 11, 12, but Martin, such a better combination there than he had in his 2 of those previous 3 runs.
So that's Ivo at the nose of the sled. He is down and done. Yoon-Jin Suk for Korea with Lee Seon-wo, Chae Byung-do, the 19-year-old, and Kim Don-young behind him in the middle on the brakes. And for Suk, 17th after 3 heats. He'll want to hang on, but the gap over Ivo de Bruin, 500ths. He can't afford any mistakes here. That little tattoo there on the back of the calf of Kim Don-young. Remember where we're going to be a year from now. With the 5 rings flying over the track for the Olympics in Beijing. A track that no one bar the Chinese has even seen yet.
Yeah, we could talk about that, Martin. The Chinese, you know, they're practicing. Pierre Luders, Andre Lange are their coaches. You know, there's no Japanese here this year. But I'll tell you, Martin, there was a stretch from the '64 Olympics all the way through to Salt Lake where the home team did not win a medal. That was 10 Olympics. There's 5 Olympics since then. The home team has won a medal, including the Koreans at the last Olympics in both bobsled and scouting. So if you go using those stats now, I would say the Chinese are going to medal next year.
They could well do. Look at this. He's closing, coming back to de Bruin, 500ths back. He was close on speed, very close on speed, 800ths behind. Ivo stays in the leader's box, and Yoon-Jin Suk slips 1.
Well, Ivo went 2100ths faster. Suk went 100 slower. So Ivo de Bruin posts the best at his last heat down and gets rewarded with probably his best finish ever in a World Championships in 4-man, Mark.
It is his best finish.
It's all about personal. It's all about personal best for these athletes. That's all you want to walk away from, saying, I did my personal best, and especially on this track.
And in fact, he's 1 away from his best ever 2-man result as well. Ivo was ahead of Suk overnight. Suk jumped ahead of him in Heat 3. Ivo has reclaimed the spot in Heat 4. 16th place after our first 3 runs. Dominik Dvorak from the Czech Republic with Dominik Suchy, Jan Sindelar, Jakim Prochazka coming onto the sled yesterday morning at the last minute. So he's done a couple of World Cup races, but a World Championship rookie on the back of this sled.
They had some problems getting in the sled in the last run. They had the 10th best in the first 2 runs at the start, 13th in that heat, Martin. And the brakeman, he jumped in, looked like an inexperienced jump into the sled. But
well, you'd be right there, John. This is it's only the brakeman's 7th bobsleigh race.
Well, they've had a spectacular season to a man. He was the World Cup bronze medalist in World Cup for the season. He got one of those crystal globes, put himself right up there with Ivo Dalatovic. Pavel Puskar is one of the most successful Czech pilots ever to do that, but just hasn't performed at the level we thought here in the format. And he's only 3 miles from the Czech border.
Hanging on in front of Ivo de Bruin, but not a big gap. It's coming back down to a 10th. Ivo fastest at the bottom. How close does this get? 400ths of a second. Oh, well, Ivo de Bruin with the fastest run of the heat so far. And 400ths less.
That sled, Martin.
Yeah.
Martin, they're hurt because their start times were started out. They had a 24 in the first run, 32 in that run. Somebody in that sled's not 100%, Martin, because their starts got worse in every
It's the
heat.
driver, isn't it?
And
Dominik Dvorak was like hobbling along there, cantering.
Yeah, so look at the brakeman, you could tell the inexperience with the left, right shoulder.
Yeah.
The drive down the track, look at the speed. Ivo de Bruin with the best speed, you know, that's close to 80 miles an hour.
Yeah,
through and down, the season complete.
And just in time. I'm not sure that Dominik Dvorak there has got another heat in him.
There he is, looking.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely wounded. That's a good athlete.
You could see it in that replay at the start. He was cantering along rather than sprinting, just trying to get in the sled. Well, these guys are back at the top after crashing after the finish line in Heat 3. Maxim Anjanov, big Kirilantuk on the driver's left, Vladislav Zharovtsev on his right, and Pavel Travkin, the man in the back seat.
They're getting good starts, Martin. 19s. I mean, he had the 7th best start in all 3 runs. Shouldn't be back here in this position. You know, again, we go back to his 4th place he had in Whistler in 2017. We thought this was the replacement for the Bobsled Federation of Russia. This was the next Zubkov, and then he sort of disappeared till this event.
Well, that was at the end of a long, normal season of 2-man and 4-man racing. I don't know how many 4-man races he's done this year, but none in the World Cup, so he may be pretty race rusty. The lines look good,
This is rusty right here. Lines look spectacular. He's got a huge, this will be his best run of the 4 by a lot. Let's see if he can get through the finish corner without crashing.
Yeah. There's Dominik Suchy from the Czech Republic. Yeah, that's a great run.
54.27. Oh, yeah. That's his best run by a lot. 2,500ths.
Well, that would have been definitely a top 10 run in the 3rd heat. That's a great drive from Maxim Anjanov.
Save the best for last. You know, a little check there. You know, that's way better than most. And the lines, a little different angles to get through this 360-degree whip around, high, tight Kreisel. Martin, they'll have a Kreisel in China next year. It'll be the first Kreisel since the Calgary Olympics in '88.
Maxim Anjanov, the leader then, with 14 sleds remaining. First 5 down. Last heat of the 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. 14th after 3 heats, Patrick Baumgartner of Italy. Bianchi, Eric Fantazzini, with Costantino Ugo at 3 and Lorenzo Bellotti at 4, the brakeman in the back. Baumgartner 13th and 11th, 15th and Watt in the 4th heat. Can he get a top 10 run going as well?
He better pay attention, because the Bobsleigh Federation from Russia just put a big heat down. Andrianov.
And Andrianov was only 300 behind him as well.
Baumgartner gets through that curve 4.5, much better than he did last run. 900's back, Martin. He drives well on the bottom part of the track. Oh. Former junior Olympic champion. He's brought it back to 7, but that was before that crash into the wall.
Yeah.
11, so that's the crash into the wall that we're going to lose more here.
Andrianov, the fastest sled apart from the final speed trap. Ivo de Bruin still has the top speed at the bottom. Baumgartner's going down 1, just 1. Ay, 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 says Manny Mahata.
Well, mistakes in both runs. You know, with the deficient start times, you got to drive. Look at the, the dissatisfaction. They pound the side. There could be some kind of bonus there to finish in the top 15, or maybe his best finish ever. This would have been in the Worlds, Martin. As we look at last year, look how high he gets here. The exit of the curve looks flat there. This is a
last year he
top
was
9.
14th here, and that's his best 4-man Worlds, so he may not make that mark. They were in 14th, but lost a spot to Andrianov. So Maxim Andrianov of Russia, of the Bobsleigh Federation of Russia, our current leader. Andrianov was 12th last year. Great Britain's Lamin Dean next up, and Lamin was 20th in last year's race. And in Winterberg 2015 finished in 5th position in the 4-man competition. And this sled of Lamin's set a track record in Whistler with a top speed of 162.5 kilometers an hour. This thing is quick despite its aged chassis.
Was Lamin driving that sled?
I think it was, yeah. I think it was in the World Cup race. 5:29 the start.
Well, he's got to watch out for Andrianov, who posted a great time. And again, we talked about it the first run. This is the 1991 Dresden chassis. Dresden, where I was at that World Championships, and we did a visit down there because everybody was driving these Dresden sleds. And they also made MiGs. That was when it still the Iron Curtain stuff. And Martin, that was pretty eye-opening for me to see that. But this was the sled of the 90s. You wanted to have a Dresden chassis for sure. 900.
This chassis is still earning its keep. Singer Cal dates back to 2016.
Watch out.
Here he comes.
Right to the 100.
Hang on ahead of Andrianov. 300s.
300s he does.
Oh boy. Oh boy. There was Kirill Antuk in the leader's box for the Andrianov team. So Baumgartner drops 1, but Lamin Dean hangs on to his spot. He will be at least 13th.
Better than last year.
Yeah, 20th last year.
In and down, good technique, little choreography on ice, we like to say. Long run here, long start. Gives the athletes more chance to show their sprinting capabilities, but then you got to get in that sled. There, that might be the last sled. They're congratulating. That might be the last time they use this sled, Martin. They're hoping for a new sled.
Good old Warhorse. Well, he wants a new cow, better aerodynamics. He likes the way the sled handles.
Well, it's over. It's over. Goodbye, sled.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't wish it goodbye yet. So Alexei Stulnev next for the Bobsleigh Federation of Russia. Alexei Zaitsev on the driver's left. Vasily Kondratenko on our left of the shot there. And Roman Koshelev behind. They started 5:22 in the 3rd heat, John. 9th best start. 5:21.
21. He's got the BFR team of the second push team. Doesn't have the, Martin, this is the veteran too. But look at the way the heads are all tucked in here. You don't see any going left to right, left to right. They're perfectly well fitted in the sled. So I'm giving them an A- minimum on their aerodynamic profile. 1300 lead by the drift.
Season after season, they're very experienced.
Yeah, the VFR knows how to do that.
Yeah.
They pay attention to a lot of details. Only 1000s back. This is going to be another single digits, Martin, but he should hold the lead.
Yeah. And he does by a 10th.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good line on the bottom.
Piccolo.
He was losing time back, but he found that good German shortcut at curve 14, 15, 16. It rewards you, Martin. There is speed in that bottom part of that track. Big, high, sweeping turns.
Lamindine and Alexei Stulnev have set the exact same time. They're a 10th apart before the fourth heat. They remain a 10th apart.
This didn't help, but and then the crossover low at 11, 12. Watch the back end here. Does he exit here without a skid? Not bad. You can afford to hit that right wall and get on the takeout on your terms. Through and down, but nowhere near what he did last year when he finished 11th.
Alexei Zaitsev and Alexei Stulnev with the beard. They are the leaders, and they were 100th behind Switzerland's junior world champion Michael Vogt. With Sylvia Weber on the sled, Oliver Giger, late replacement today for Sandro Michel, who raced yesterday. Andreas Haas is the man at the back in the center. 100th his advantage. The final heat of the World Championships. Trying to hang on to 11th place.
29 start at least. 27, better start. They need it. The VFR sled had a better start and had a great drive down the track. So did Lamindine. And they're all bunched up here, Martin. One little mistake, you could fall 2 or 3 sleds.
Definitely.
This young Swiss pilot here, 5th at the World Championships a few years ago at Whistler. The Swiss put a lot of investment in this young athlete. And 9th in last year's World Championships. 700's back, but the best speed. Good lines, he could be the leader at the bottom. But the track will determine that.
Clean. Yeah, 13 and 14. If he comes out straight and he doesn't, he's going to lose it. And he could be in trouble with Lamindine. He might drop 2. Stulnev gets him, and he does drop 2. Lamindine moves up 1.
Stulnev pulls in. See why we call that place the graveyard, Martin? See what happened just there? He had it down to 300s, had the best speed, was going to overtake, going to maintain his place. That's why we call
make the mistake,
75.
and you get
75 yards.
Get buried.
Right here, graveyard.
Yeah.
He did not get through the graveyard successfully. Cost him 2 places. Not the way he wants to end his season, Martin, with that thought.
Not
that
for
one
sure.
little spot.
Alexei Stulnev and Lamindine move up as Michael Vogt slips down to 3rd place with 10 to go. So Stulnev the leader, knocking on the door of a top 10. It will require drivers ahead of them to make mistakes for him to move up, but drivers do make mistakes here in Altenberg. Well, John, who would have thought late in the summer with all the craziness that's been going on that we had A, full World Cup season, and B, a World Championships. We were supposed to be in your hometown in Lake Placid. That couldn't happen because of the travel restrictions. But to actually have a season in this crazy year has been quite an achievement.
Well, Martin, sitting here in Lake Placid, if you saw the new finish building, there's our trophy, the Martineau Cup since 1930. Hubert Martineau was the first president of the St. Moritz Club. Martin, 1930. We're 9 years away from the 100th anniversary of that trophy.
I know.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And but the people in Lake Placid, trust me, I'm sitting here, and the people in Lake Placid were so psyched up for this event. Only St. Moritz has hosted more World Championships than Lake Placid. And the new facilities, what they put in. There's an alpine ride, an 8-minute alpine ride. There's a spectacular finish building that includes a stadium for Nordic and biathlon. All these preparations for upgrading the venues are related to the 2023 World University Games. Martin, COVID deprived Lake Placid of a wonderful event. And Martin, the new indoor push track on the 3rd floor of this building, unbelievable. One of the best in the world. So
I can't wait to get
we'll
back.
Get back.
It's always a great stop on tour. The fans, the locals, everybody in town knows that bobsled is in town, and it's such a part of the fabric of Lake Placid. It's a great place to race, a great place to watch races. There's Ben Simons, part of Lamin Dean's team. They lie 2nd with 10 to go. Final 10 sleds of the season. Final 10 sleds of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. Canada's Chris Spring, after a year away from the sport, came back last year into the World Cup this year and looking for a top 10 World Championship finish with his new crew, Mike Evelyn, Mark Malacca and Chris Patrician.
Been impressed with these guys. They're, you know, they got great technique at the start. There's a little drift out of one. And, you know, the Springer took a year off, Martin, but in that year off, he became a professional pilot. So let's see if he can pilot this sled down to get himself into the top 10. 1700s to work with.
Yeah, gap's coming down.
Down to 11, but 3rd best speed. But Vogt had the best speed and then crashed out of 13-14 while in the graveyard section. Here he's back online now, though.
On.
The graveyard. Yeah. The graveyard of time, and he gets through it with
nice
a free pass.
Clean.
He's accelerating away. This is the leader.
So it's going to be a top 10 finish for Chris Spring. Alexei Zaitsev leads the leaders box.
Run.
Yes, it was. He was quicker in the 3rd heat, a 54.21. That was a good.
That's the track, though, Martin.
Run.
The guys that go early have a better chance with the fresh ice to better their time for the previous run because they went so late in the previous run. I don't think we're going to see too many more sleds better their times from that first run, but Spring had a good run here, and the lines with Stilnev pretty similar. And here in the graveyard of time, look at the helmet back there. I don't like that, so I'm going to give him a B on the helmet and the aerodynamics, but Chris Spring in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, top 10 finish here, the track that has been so much a part of his career in all sorts of different ways. In 9th place after the first heat, the Russian World Cup rookie this season for Bobsleigh Federation of Russia, Rostislav Gajtukovic is their top driver, and he has just arrived with a huge bang. Didn't compete in the Worlds last year, finished in 14th in the 2-man. This is his World Championship debut. And as you can see, consistency failed him in Heat 2, but he needs to be in the top half dozen or top 8 of times in this final run.
Martin, all through the World Cup season, his worst run was like the 6th place in any one of the 4 races that we had. He won his first ever World Cup medal in Innsbruck, and we thought this was the dawning of a new star for the BFR, but hasn't performed at any level on this track other than his team has given him great starts.
He hasn't got huge knowledge of the Altenberg track. That will change as he gets more years under his belt and more ice experience. Best speed.
This is where it gets dicey, though, for him. Right here in the graveyard, he's been sideways 2 of the 3 heats, and this time he's perfect. Pulling away,
was
too, Martin.
2200s ahead of Spring. He's doubling his advantage over Chris Spring from 22 to 4100s at the line. A 54.18 slide, only 600 slower than his best.
That was his best drive down this track, too tough to tame.
And why is that important? Because the next sled was only 100th ahead. That's why that was important. He could move up.
The exit of this Kreisel. good, and then you got to set yourself up for 11-12, get over here in the takeout on your terms, which he does. He's got to be happy with that. He struggled the first 3 runs, Martin, but not there.
There's Ruslan Samitov, one of the brakemen. And at the top of the track is Yoon Jong-won of Korea with Kim Jin-soo, Lee Gong-min and Jung Hyun-woo. Our silver medalist in Pyeongchang in 4-man bobsleigh. Yoon Jong-won has had a short season this year, even shorter than the Americans and the Canadians. Koreans only arrived for the last couple of weeks of regular season before the Worlds, and that showed perhaps most in the first heat. Only 11th fastest. He's been a bit more close to his best in heats 2 and 3.
He's going to get beat up at the start, 27 in the last heat. The BFR team had 10/100ths better, 28, so he's already in the red, Martin, but this Olympic silver medalist who doesn't have his team from the 2018 games, but he has shown some good drive lines on the bottom. He's going to need him in this run to maintain his position.
Yeah, coming from behind needs perfection. Both the Korean sleds posted good speed at the bottom, but you only get good speed if you don't hit things on the way down. Top speed in the Kreisel.
Yep. Back end of the sled, pretty good. Graveyard coming up.
2/10 back. 2/10 back.
Not perfect.
I don't think he's got enough.
He could fall a couple spots.
Gajtukovic is moving up. He could. Now one behind Gajtukovic. Boom. There's Gajtukovic. So Suk slipped a spot behind De Bruyn. One slips a spot behind Gajtukovic.
Hey, Gajtukovic was 5th in World Cup standings this year, so he's in 9th now. He could still move up another one, Martin.
Yeah.
It's close. There's only 700ths with him. Look at this little tap of the right wall into 13 is okay. It's when you skid in there sideways that sets you up for 14, exit of 14, and then the graveyard. Ooh.
Yeah. It's getting a bit banged up. We talk about taps. A lot of the time, the soft contents inside the sled gets banged around a lot more than a tap. So Yoon Jong-won is down. At the top of the track is the man who claimed the gold medal in 2014 in Sochi. Ruslan Samitov for Team Gajtukovic in the leader's box. This is Oskars Melbardis with Edgars Nemeth, Laris Kaufmanis and Intars Dambis on the sled. They have a 1/4 of a second in hand over Gajtukovic. That should be enough.
Little slower at the start, Martin, but the biggest man in the competition, 6'3", 250 pounds, can still run, but Martin, he's not 100%. I bet you if he becomes back to his form next season, we see him challenging for Olympic medals again. Remember, he won the 2-man bronze in Pyeongchang. Everybody forgets that because of that legendary tie for the gold medal between Fritz and
Exactly right. That kind of eclipsed the rest of the competition, didn't it? 100 back. Gajtukovic could be moving
here.
up. And he's not. He was just coming back in front. It is going to be close, but it's Gajtukovic, isn't it? By 500ths.
Sanders Preuss.
Well, this track, it keeps giving.
Martin, I'm still saying, this guy right here gets healthy. Watch out next year.
Yep.
I think he's still about 75% because he owns the track record on a couple different tracks at the start. This didn't help. Look at the runner check. That didn't help. And this was worse. The graveyard. No free pass
there. He really hauled it off 14.
Yeah.
Really hauled it off.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 to go. Rostislav Gajtukovic leads, and we get to the first of our 4 German sleds. Christoph Hafer with Kevin Corona, who was here last year with Nico Walter, got the bronze in the 4-man. Christian Hammers, debutant in the World Championships, and Philip Verbeto. He's the man at the back in the centre. And again, consistency is key, but for Heat 2, could he be knocking on the door of a top 4 finish, maybe? Sixth place after 3 runs. This is not the time to give a position away.
26 start, pretty much what you would expect here. They had 23, their best start of the 4. So I'm sure some German coach up there just said to him, do you realize if you don't improve, you're not going to have a chance of making the Olympic team next year? I mean, you know, there's no lets in the German program. There's plenty of people right behind him to take the German number 3 spot. 1800s up, that's a good sign.
And he was 2,500s up before the run. So the gaps come down to 12.
Down to 12.
And look at the speed.
11th
Where's
best
the speed?
Not there.
That can't be right.
Find that German shortcut.
Oh my word.
Down to 7. He could still hang in there, Martin. Good lines here. 3.
But a skid and a tap into 14. Is this going to be a tie, or will Hafer hang on? It is a tie! Unbelievable. This place, what does it keep doing to us? Just when you think the drama is high enough, they tie. They neither lose a place, nor does Gajtukovic fail to gain one. Gajtukovic will be no worse than 6th equal.
So that's a great performance for Gajtukovic. For sure,
Yeah.
to come all the way back from 11th or 12th that he was in, Martin, to finish in the top 6 for that rookie BFR guy. I mean, the lines, this wasn't helpful. And this is, you know, Hofner's been down this track.
Yeah, but
they're happy.
they hold
top
on.
6, that might be a point.
Yeah, top 6. Well, it sounds better than
Waving
7.
to the crowd.
Yeah, the line of high fives is pretty short. So, Christoph Hafer leads with Rostislav Gajtukovic. 5 to go. In the pink there on the left-hand side, Elena Nikitina. All the BFR athletes are out watching this. Justin Cripps, Cam Stones, Ryan Summer and Ben Coakwell. 900s out of 4th. The medals are an enormous stretch.
5:18, same as they got in the last heat. Martin, we talk about this event should be in Lake Placid, New York. Well, one of the disappointing people here is Cripps, because he does very well in both 2 and 4-man in Lake Placid. So, you know, it probably robbed him of a chance of another medal. And last year, after the 2 runs, he was in 4th here at the World Championships and couldn't come out for the bell for the 3rd run with some back problems. And here he is fighting for a top 5.
Bronze medalist in Whistler in 2019, but 10th best speed. He should have enough to hang on, 3/4 of a second. If he doesn't crash it, he will stay in the top 5. How close does he get to Kibermanis? That was a great run.
Put some pressure on Kibermanis.
Now his 3rd was still quicker, 53.87. That was a 54.19. But it's a top 5 finish for Cripps.
Good stuff, buddy.
Well, all he can do is post a good time, be the leader, catch me if you can. And on this track, Martin, nothing is safe. Good aerodynamics, great experienced team. Think about a team, too. You got to be friends with each other. You got to like each other in the hotel, in the weight room. These 4 guys are close.
And don't forget, this is his 6th race weekend of the season. But the guys who've been on the World Cup all year long, this is their 14th race weekend. So they are so much more in the zone. Now then, Oskars Kibermanis, 4th place after 3 heats. 2,500s out of the medals with Darp Springs, Mats Miknes and Chris Lindenblatt, a rookie this season in the World Cup and the World Championships. A loose first heat denied him a possible chance of a medal. I am told the runners on this sled won gold in Sochi with Oskars Kibermanis. Whether that's an omen or not, who knows? 5:12 is the start. Another blinding start from the Latvians.
Yeah, Martin, he went late in the first run, so that sixth place finish gave him a chance. Second best time in the second run, then fourth in the last run. He's got to put a smoking time down here to have any kind of a chance. 1600s, he should be farther ahead than that on Cripps. Those are great lines. Now 19, best speed. He needs all of the best speed to have a chance here.
Yeah, and more. 2300s. Well, he was only 900s up on Cripps, so that shows where he's going. He manages to handle it.
This is
the challenge for Lochner. He's challenging for the medals, 54.02. That's the gauntlet thrown down for Johannes Lochner. That's what I've got. Let's see what you've got. He leads with 3 to go.
He started 23rd in the first run, Martin, because he only competed in 2 World Cups this year, and according to points.
Yep.
You know, and if he would have got that lucky draw with the top 3, might be a different story here. But you know, I think he's done the best he could. Last year he's finished right out of the medals in 4th, also, Martin. So he doesn't want to hear about a repeat performance. He wants to still have a chance to win a medal.
Not really.
These were good lines. I think he did his best.
Didn't really know why he missed the first 3 four-man races and only appeared for the final one. That was unusual. 3 sleds to go in the BMW IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Championships in Altenberg. Wind the clock back 12 months. This man was a silver medalist behind Francesco Friedrich in an all-German sweep with Nico Walter's team in 3rd. But this time, it's not an all-German top 3, and Lochner is the man in 3rd. He does need a solid run, John, to guarantee himself a medal.
14, 15 start, so that's 2100's lead. His uncle Rudy won the World Championship 2-man medal on this track in 1991 in Altenberg's first ever World Championships. You know, Lochner's been a little inconsistent, Martin. 2nd in this event last year. 2700s, he grows that lead. It's his medal to lose right now, 28. Should have the best speed, telemetry's not working. Now, there's plenty of gremlins still down here, though. He gets through the first one.
That's not growing.
Now the graveyard, and he's through that
coming
one.
Down.
He's going to have it.
He should have enough. Is it going to be a medal for Johannes Lochner? It is going to be a medal for Johannes Lochner. 54.10 is enough. It may not put pressure on Benny Meyer for the silver, but he guarantees himself at least a bronze medal in the four-man World Championships.
Yeah, didn't have the best run of the heat, but had enough to put himself in a position to at least win a bronze, and great aerodynamic profile by all of them. And Martin, seems like they're starting to figure out the track too. We haven't seen as many other than Mel Bardis going sideways here, and that wasn't perfect, but it was enough. And the 300-meter sprinters behind him.
They're figuring out the track, and there's only 2 sleds left in the entire World Championships. Well, that was 2,200 slower than his previous run. In fact, I beg your pardon, that was 4,200 slower than his previous run. Now, can Benny Meyer hang on here? Meyer has been 2nd fastest in 2 heats, 4th fastest on heat 2, but he has been in the medals all the way through. And this would round out what has been comfortably his best season as a bobsleigh driver. He is poised to grab the silver medal in the World Championships.
Austria has not won a World Championship medal since Hubert Schasser in 1993 in Innsbruck. And of course, the legendary gold medal by Ingo Appel for Austria at the 92 Olympics in Albertville. Benny Meyer's putting himself up into legacy territory with this run here.
We're entirely impartial, but come on, Benny. 9th,
Martin,
corner 9, nice line.
He crashed out of the 2-man. So there's
John,
no
don't even go there. Top speed in the Kreisel, 6/10 up, 13 and 14, the final danger zone, and he's clean again.
He's gonna do it.
He is gonna do it. It is gonna be a historic silver medal for Benny Meyer, at least. Yes.
Wolfgang Stomper there. Just think of all the great pilots. Edwin Thaler won in 67.
Benny told us the story.
In the 70s and 80s.
A few years ago, he was giving this up, and his girlfriend persuaded him to go back and give it one more try. He started training for the season in four-man with 2 girls in the sled because he couldn't find any athletes. That, so far, has been the second best decision of his life, Elizabeth Meyer being the best. But Benny, Liz, you can start breathing again now. Well done, Benji. Silver medal guaranteed for Benny Meyer and Austria. And
Great
the cow
season
horn.
for Austria across the board.
Yeah, 1 to go. Francesco Friedrich. So what can he do? He's looking at his 4th four-man World Championships in a row. He wants the start record, 5:01. Look at the face of Torsten Margis on your right there. He wants this so badly. The start record first, do they get there? No, they're shy again, 5:03. And Friedrich wants the finish record as well, 53:17. None of the last few sleds, John, have gone quickly enough. I'm not sure it does either.
The track doesn't have it. But, you know, don't say anything. Don't challenge this guy. I mean, he's only won 38 out of 39 runs. You talk about the perfect season. Think about one heat in that 2-man race in Sigulda. He got beat.
Yeah.
Unbelievable what he's accomplished.
Great lines, top
like
speed.
He's on a rail. Martin, he won by 2 seconds in the 2-man race.
Knows it inside out, but he's going to win his 4th World Championships in four-man. That's his 11th World Championship gold medal. 7 2-man titles, 4 four-man titles, successive victories for Francesco Friedrich and the team. Torsten Margis, Candy Bauer, Alexander Schuler.
But Margis wasn't on that sled last year.
Not last year.
The only difference between...
Yeah. And the little thumbs up, the bashful little thumbs up. Do you know, he still is like the 22-year-old kid we met in St. Moritz. 30 years of age, one of the greatest bobsledders that we have ever seen. And John, you've seen a few.
Well, and he's so humble. Benny Meyer, who just got the silver medal, is sponsored by Friedrich out of friendship. Unbelievable.
Talking about the visor that came off Torsten's helmet.
Martin, 40 runs down the track this year. He's 39 for 40. What other sport do you have this type of stat? I just don't get it.
Childs,
you know.
Ken Childs reminded me that in addition to his 11 individual gold medals, he also has 2 World Championship team gold medals. So the tally is at 13. He's the winner, ahead of Benny Meyer and Johannes Lochner. Oskars Kibermanis 4th, Justin Kripps 5th, Christoph Hafer and Rostislav Gajtukovic tied for 6th, ahead of Oskars Malbardis, Yun Jung Won and Chris Spring. And some real stories over the last couple of weeks on this track, not least here in the four-man. And there are your finishing sleds. 19 made it through into the final day of a brutal World Championships. But from all of us, congratulations, not just to the athletes and the teams, but to the organisers, the helpers, the medical crews who have helped keep everybody healthy, regularly tested. Putting on a World Championships is never easy. Putting it on 2 years in a row is never easy. And putting it on in the midst of a global pandemic, hats off to everybody in Altenberg and the surrounding area for a fantastic job just to make this happen. And Francesco Friedrich, their poster boy, does them proud on the track. And that's it. The season is over. My thanks to John Morgan, thanks to you for being with us, thanks to Bree Schaff for joining us for the skeleton competitions this weekend. And from me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew, let's hope that the next 12 months bring us a whole lot more rest, travel and freedom than we have had in this pandemic. Until then, well done to everybody for making the season happen. We'll see you next year.
It's